Many people think that when you pick a water monitor like Moen Flo, Phyn Plus, or FloLogic, all you need to do is pick one, hire a plumber to get it installed, and then kick back and have that peace of mind. But that's not true, because if you pick the wrong one, you could be out hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. So in this video, I am going to share with you some of the surprises that we've had over the last 6 years of installing these on our own home, along with some of the additional costs that we've avoided. By the end, you will know exactly what to look for when comparing any device on the market, not just these, and you'll know what the real price is up front. A water loss is something you never want to deal with. If you're one of the 1 out of 60 unlucky people this year who had to fight with insurance and pay for repairs, once you realize you could have had something in place that costs so much less than your deductible, a water monitor seems less like a nice to have and would have prevented this situation from ever happening. There are some common costs, like hiring a plumber. If you hire someone in a higher cost of living area versus a lower cost of living location, those are going to be very different. But that's the same cost across any device you choose. The price of the water monitor. Water monitors now come in different sizes. The size of the supply line coming into your house dictates what size water monitor you should buy. It's no surprise that a larger size water monitor is going to cost more. However, there are some gotchas, and I want you to know what those are so that you know what's worth paying for. Phyn Plus only comes in 3/4 of an inch. The technical specifications say that they can go on a line up to 1 1/4. However, every single time that you constrict the flow of water, so going from a 1 inch or 1 1/4 down to 3/4 of an inch when you're going through Phyn Plus, well, that's going to decrease your water pressure. How much? I don't really know, in the sense knowing that this is frustrating and I wish that I had more shower pressure or something like that. But now we have more options. Moen Flo comes in 3 sizes: 3/4 inch, 1 inch, and 1 1/4. Here's the gotcha with Flo. The 1 inch is actually a 3/4 inch valve body with 1 inch connectors. The 1 1/4 is a true size up. Looking at FloLogic, it starts at 1 inch and also offers 1 1/2 and 2 inch water monitors. Can you get away with smaller devices? Probably. But if it were me, I would always go with the exact same size or larger, never smaller. Sensors. This is what really changed in the last few years. Sensors cut out the water monitor trying to figure out if your water usage is an actual leak or just everyday use. This shortens the amount of time your leak is active. Each company has come out with their own set of sensors, each with a little different capability, but that's for a different video. The main functionality is the same. When the electrodes on the sensor detect water, an alarm goes off. If the sensors are tied into a water monitor, like Phyn Plus in the background here, as you can hear, that low motor noise is Phyn Plus turning off the water main. The sensor signaled to Phyn Plus that there was a leak, and Phyn Plus closed the valve without any human intervention. The water to the house is turned off and the leak is stopped. The sensors are the difference between having 25 gallons in your house, possibly more if you have a different system, or this. What came out within 14 seconds of the sensor detecting the leak and Phyn Plus shutting off the water. Sensors, with their instant leak detection and shutting off the water right away, is the equalizer between how these different devices work. It's nice to know about these ahead of time, even if you can't afford it today. Plan for them. There are some gotchas here, and I can think of at least 2 nice surprises that could save you some money, and you wouldn't have to buy as many sensors. You'd still have the same coverage, but I don't want to bog down this video with all the details. I'll make a follow-on video with that. I'll put the link in the description when it comes out. All right. Next up, electrical changes. Let's go outside. Moen Flo and Phyn Plus and FloLogic require AC power, and they have slightly different ways of approaching getting power to their respective devices. Moen Flo has a detachable 10-foot cable, and this can be extended with 25-foot low voltage extensions that you can buy. This was $20, and now it's in the $15 range. You can daisy chain up to 4 of these cables. That is so much cheaper than hiring an electrician to run a new line if you don't have an outlet nearby. Phyn Plus, on the other hand, has their AC power adapter. This is 11.5 feet. It's not the advertised 12 feet, and it must be plugged in. You can see here, it must be plugged in directly to an outlet. The AC adapter for Phyn Plus Gen 2 no longer hooks onto the back like it did in Gen 1. FloLogic is similar to Phyn Plus. There's no extension. The power cable must be plugged into an outlet. The FloLogic power cable is 19.5 feet. I always appreciate when a company gives us a little more cable than advertised. Word of warning for systems like FloLogic and Phyn Plus, where there's no extension available based on the design of the power cord, the distance between the unit and the electric outlet that it's going to get plugged into may be even shorter, depending on the distance on where those two things are up the wall and how gravity works. If you are installing your device inside of your home, you're probably fine. Probably. Code dictates that you should have an outlet every 12 feet. Now, whether or not code applies to your house, let's be real. Do you need an outlet where you're planning on putting this device? Now is a good time to take that measurement. If your unit is going to go outside, this could get interesting. First, you have to have a weatherproof while in use outlet cover. As I covered how to install in a past video, I'll link to that in the description. We tried both ways respectively. With Flo, we opted for the low voltage cords because their extension option was less expensive and faster. For Phyn, we updated an existing outdoor line. We brought it up to the current code and moved the new properly protected outdoor GFCI outlet closer to where Phyn Plus is installed. I don't know how much that will run for you since we ran the new line ourselves. Back inside here because it's 110 outside, which is the perfect segue into, is your location going to eat through units? Now, if you saw my last video, I had some concerns. I've gone through several devices. I will put the link to that video in the description. But the outcome, what's happening next, is putting multiple devices in line to see how they do with these improved, latest and greatest versions of these devices. Moen Flo, Phyn Plus, and FloLogic. So subscribe and follow along to see what happens during this 1 year. I don't want to put any kind of endorsement on any product to go outdoors unless it makes it past the 1 year mark. We are going to not only protect the next units from the sun, but also wrap the copper pipes so that they do not conduct the heat to the unit despite the shade. The problem still could be that the heat is still absorbed in the middle of the day when there's less water usage and the water sits in the line, but at least the sun won't radiate and amplify the heat. When it comes to indoor installation, my last Flo by Moen unit was indoors and it worked for 3.5 years. It's still working, just that the house that it was on was sold. It is in transit and on its way to getting installed on a different house, and the experiment will continue. When it comes to a humid or constantly wet environment, I have no way of replicating that. So if you happen to be in that kind of environment, please add a comment below explaining how well your device is done so far. I'd really appreciate that. The gotcha with FloLogic is the Connect module, which allows you to access FloLogic through the phone app. The FloLogic water monitor is outdoor rated. The Connect module is most definitely not. There's a 25-foot cable to connect the Connect module to the water monitor, which also cannot be extended. The Connect module will need protection from the elements. Another hidden cost is buying one of these without a discount. As I mentioned before, I've had success with Moen Flo, 3.5 years, no problem, recommend it indoors. With that in mind, I do have a discount code. No More Leaks 10 will get you 10% off of Flo by Moen, Moen Flo, as well as any of their bundles. And I do have a video about that, what I recommend. You may be able to find a discount through your insurance as well. Also, I should say at this point, none of my videos are sponsored. I have bought all of these devices. I don't want that to change in the future. And when I'm giving you these recommendations, when I'm giving the companies that feedback, I want to go in as a real customer. That being said, No More Leaks 10, that gives you a discount on Moen Flo. Indoors, please. If you do buy Moen Flo through the link in the description, you are supporting this channel. Thank you. I'll keep that description updated. Wi-Fi requirements. This is one that trips up a lot of people when you read comments and reviews. Make sure that these devices can get on the Wi-Fi before installing it. I've talked to customer service representatives. I've asked them, what are your pain points? This one point is it. They get so many angry calls from customers that have already installed it and struggle to get it online. Once you cut your water main, you're committed. I mean, you can put a spacer in, but let's be real. Nobody wants to even put something on their house if they're going to have problems connecting to the internet. Try it first. Could it be a problem with the device? Could it be a problem that you need to have a Wi-Fi range extender put closer to the device itself? Maybe it's something with your network. Figure out what the problem is first, and then you can call the plumber out. Some companies won't take a product back if it's been installed. Buying a Wi-Fi extender would be the hidden cost here. The price of extended warranties, insurance deductible coverage, that sort of thing. Moen Flo comes with 1 year of warranty out of the box. And if you would like to extend that another 4 years for a total of 5 years of coverage, you need to enroll in Flo Protect, which also gives you insurance deductible coverage up to $5,000, which none of the other devices have as an option. When it comes to that deductible coverage, it only covers up to your specific deductible or the maximum covered, whichever is lower. For example, if your deductible is $2,000, Flo Protect will only pay out $2,000, not $5,000. Also, Flo has a certain requirement on what settings need to be in the app in order for the deductible coverage to apply. I highly recommend it, and I've been a Flo Protect customer for more than 5 years. Flo Protect is an additional $5 a month. With paying for Flo Protect 5 years, that comes to a total of an additional $300. Now, the update here with Phyn Plus is that there's no affiliation with Uponor anymore. And what used to be was that you had a 2-year warranty, which is still the case. It's a 2-year warranty for Phyn Plus. But it used to be that if you had the Pro Squad install it, you would get an additional year, and there was also deductible coverage there. But that is no longer the case. Phyn Plus only has a 2-year warranty. So if you look at Phyn Plus with Flo Protect and you say, hey, I wanted to extend it and make it like apples to apples with Phyn Plus, that's an additional $120 for 2 years of coverage. Truthfully, I think you can wait until the 12-month mark in order to enroll in Flo Protect. So it could be $60, but I'm just going to put it out there. When you buy the device, that's when you're thinking about it. Not a year down the road when you're like, oh, oops, it's been 13 months. Yeah, you've already missed that opportunity. Let's just be upfront, be real, put the $5 a month in, and then you do have to call in order to stop it, which I haven't done, which is why I have had it more than 5 years. But at the same time, I definitely got the coverage I needed out of it. FloLogic also has what they call a best in category 5-year warranty. That is 5 years for everything where the flow is going through. The fine print that I cannot find on any of the websites. But when I talked to the customer service agent, they said that the flow sensor only has 2 years. The FloLogic flow sensor is $200. It is a replaceable part. You aren't out an entire $2,000 for a new unit. Next up, modified plumbing. And I'm not talking about installing a device and you didn't have enough space, so then the plumber or you kind of modifies the plumbing so that this device can get installed. That's kind of a gotcha for everyone. You're going to have to do that on any device. What I'm talking about is the requirement to install a check valve, some kind of backflow prevention assembly device, so that if you have an open system, like we currently do, the city pushes forward, we have some, it loses pressure, and then it goes backwards. This is known as backflow. FloLogic requires a check valve. And when you stop the water and you have a tank water heater like we do, you have to install an expansion tank, because we know when the water's heating up, it's expanding. It's putting pressure on your pipes. If you have a closed system, it's not pushing the water back into the city. What this expansion tank does is it has a bladder and it fluctuates, helps absorb that pressure that's building up on your side of the system. So this is going to go on the hot water line. And like I said, FloLogic requires this for their system to go in place. So that's an additional cost of a check valve, whatever that is going to be look like, and the expansion tank. Moen Flo actually is going to get a huge benefit. Since Moen Flo has a turbine design, it spins and those magnets record all of the water going into your house and back out of your house. It does not know the difference. So if you don't like your usage history looking like this, where you flush a toilet and then there's a whole lot of little bitty usages going on that you're going, what happened? That I didn't do that. Well, your city did. Your neighbor's water heater going off did and pushes it in. So the check valve as well as the expansion tank is going to clean up all of that history for flow. It's a side benefit. So if you're a water nerd like me, you might want to close your system down too in order to see all the clean history. This is where Phyn Plus shines. Their algorithm does not log anything that goes backwards. Their system has determined how that looks so that when you do look at that log, there's no little events. And that's without closing down the system. I said that we're going to have 2 more devices put onto our line. I have to figure out what that kind of maintenance, because anytime you add more complications to your plumbing, there's probably some maintenance involved. That might be a follow-on cost. Next up are actually money back to you. It is discounts from your insurance. Is the device that you're going to install, that you're most interested in installing, will that give you an insurance discount? Which then perhaps some of these costs will be paid for with the discount. It's very important to check this up front. Some of the insurance companies are working very closely with particular water monitor companies. At some point, they may prefer one over another. Definitely check with your insurance carrier first. But that leads right into, what if the water monitor company goes out of business? This is a pretty dire one because it's happened in the past. I have USAA, for instance, and USAA works really closely with Resideo. Resideo in the past had a water monitor named Buoy. Now back in 2020, I got to see it at KVIS. I was super excited to get a chance to actually touch it. But in 2021, Buoy was discontinued. Likewise, LeakSmart went out of business in 2024. I was actually really bummed. That system had a lot of really neat features. Like if the power went out, that had an independent power system and it had the communication between all the sensors, the devices, that still had your home entirely covered. However, like I said, it went out of business in 2024. So if whatever device it is goes out of business, clearly you're going to have to go looking for another answer. And that is a really, really terrible hidden cost. There's always one more thing and more coffee. Adapters. Not all water monitors come with adapters. This is the tailpiece kit for Moen Flo. I was reminded of this when I was unboxing my latest Moen Flo. It's official. I got a blue one. When it comes to installing water monitors, you have to somehow connect it to your plumbing. Moen Flo comes with the adapters. Phyn Plus does not. So you will have to buy water meter couplings in order to put Phyn Plus on your main. There's a couple brass versions, a couple of PEX versions. I'll put that information in the description. FloLogic is a bit of a hybrid. It comes with some detachable adapters, but you still have to buy 1-inch male adapters to sweat or crimp onto the line. If you have a 3/4-inch water supply like me, the 1-inch to 3/4 step-down adapter is also readily available. Supply House has better pricing, but you can find these on the shelf at a big box store like Home Depot. You cannot find Phyn's water meter couplings on the shelf at Home Depot. You can find them at Supply House or support your local plumbing supply. Adapters are a possible additional cost depending on the system you choose. Let's go back to a positive note. Price breaks on buying bundles. Some companies package up water monitors and sensors together, giving you a price break on buying more items. I've just purchased the Moen Flo Ultimate Bundle, which includes 3 sensors, a power cable extension, adapters, the battery backup, 3 sensor cables to extend the coverage area of each sensor, a spacer, flow, and 3 years of Flow Protect for much less than buying all these separately. Similarly, you can also get a price break on a set of 3 Moen Smart Leak detectors. While Phyn does not have a bundle for Phyn Plus, they do offer multi-packs of Phyn Smart Water Sensors when they are in stock. FloLogic does not have a bundle or sets of sensors at this time. I'm not sure if this next one is actually worse than the company going out of business. You decide. Choosing the wrong water monitor. I've seen comment after comment where people are incredibly frustrated, so frustrated to the point where they're going to unplug it or possibly have to pay someone to take it off. And then if you have to buy another system on top of that, if you don't put another system on and want to take the old unit off, an additional hidden cost is a spacer. Moen Flo comes with one. Phyn Plus and FloLogic do not. While it's easy enough to take these devices off without hiring a plumber, taking one off because you don't want it anymore, it is incredibly frustrating. So let's get ahead of that so that you know exactly what features you need. There are major differences between all of these systems. You need to know ahead of time so that whatever you do choose, you're going to have that peace of mind. You're not going to have that frustration. In this next video, which I still have to make, I will go over all of those pain points so that you know that the system that you choose is the best one for your house. Let's get you there. I'll see you in that video.